there. Just a little bit more.
Radiation had to understand. Stay cushion.
The film opens with John's narration, where he explains that fragments of the Clark asteroid collided with Earth, wiping out nearly 75% of the world's population and contaminating most of the environment. As a result, the survivors were forced to live inside underground bunkers. 5 years later, John is seen searching the area around Greenland's Bunker Island, sending updates back to the base bunker. After some time, he discovers several abandoned lifeboats along the shoreline and a deserted destroyer ship. John immediately boards the ship and scavenges essential tools from inside. There, he comes across the dead bodies of the ship's captain and crew, victims of the catastrophe. As John pulls out a diary from a drawer and begins to read it, the base bunker suddenly warns him that a massive, violent storm is rapidly heading toward his location. If John doesn't return immediately, he will die. Hearing this, he rushes out of the ship. The sky darkens as enormous storm clouds, flashing with lightning, stretch from the heavens down to the ocean, advancing at terrifying speed. Witnessing this apocalyptic sight, John sprints toward the bunker without stopping, glancing back at the death chasing him. He desperately pleads for the bunker doors to be opened. In the final moments, John narrowly escapes the raging storm and reaches Thule Air Base Station in Greenland safely. Removing his mask, he finally breathes a sigh of relief. Inside the bunker, a team meeting is underway, with John's wife, Allison, also in attendance. The group begins assessing the surrounding area and searching for other survivors over the radio. At the same time, the bunker's leaders raise serious concerns about food rations, warning that if conditions continue like this, their supplies may soon run out. Adam explains that if they can survive for a few more months, it might become possible to grow crops outside the bunker. However, Dr. Amina points out that although radiation levels have decreased, humans still cannot survive outside for long periods. In response, Allison suggests that they should begin planning a migration beyond the bunker. Dr. Amina then reveals that there is a crater in southern France, surrounded by mountains on all sides. Because of this natural protection, radiation levels there are lower, and the risk of storms is also reduced. However, some people hesitate to go, fearing that active conflict may still be ongoing in that region. Meanwhile, John meets with his therapist, who explains that 5 years have passed since the Clark asteroid struck Earth, wiping out most of the population. People claim they are fine, but deep inside, they are still broken. That is why there are now more therapists than surgeons. Everyone is carrying the weight of trauma, whether they admit it or not. John adds that people try to forget the past and remain hopeful, because hope is the only way to survive. Suddenly, the bunker begins to shake violently, as if an earthquake has struck. New dangers emerge as the Earth's tectonic plates start moving again, causing tremors throughout the region. Although the bunker survived the impact of the Clark asteroid, everyone is now gripped with fear about what lies ahead. And they should be afraid. Soon they receive a distress signal from outside the bunker, sent by a group of survivors hiding in caves and the tunnels of old mines. Some people want to help them, while others worry about food shortages, disease and radiation exposure, arguing that the bunker cannot bear the burden of more people. After discussion, it is decided that the matter will be put to a vote. In the end, the majority agrees to send help the next day using a snowcat. At the same time, we see children attending classes because education remains essential, especially in such conditions where basic knowledge is crucial for survival. Meanwhile, John repairs the malfunctioning systems inside the bunker, restoring water and electricity. Even in these harsh circumstances, the people inside the bunker are seen living together with moments of warmth and happiness. John gives his wife a flower he had brought back from the diary he found on the destroyed ship. It is then revealed that their son Nathan had gone outside the bunker, even if only for a short time, but without a safety mask. His parents remind him how dangerous this is, as the surface is extremely unsafe due to radiation, toxic air, ash, and limited oxygen. Nathan struggles with life underground and finds it difficult to adapt to bunker living. Preparations begin to bring the rescued survivors inside the bunker. Decontamination teams are placed on standby, and the west tunnel is opened. However, the rescue team reports that many people were left behind and requests permission to go back for them, forcing everyone to confront the harsh reality of how limited their resources have become. At the same time, John discovers cracks forming in the bunker. It begins to shake violently, like an earthquake, and panic spreads as screams echo through the halls. Within moments, the bunker collapses completely. John's family and a few others manage to escape toward the frozen coastline. Moving forward, they find abandoned lifeboats. As they climb aboard, some people fall into the sea. Many inside the bunker have already died, while a handful of survivors manage to escape and head out over the water in the lifeboats. Because there isn't enough space, several people are left behind. In the midst of this disaster and isolation, a massive tsunami slams into the coast, killing those who could not escape. The lifeboat is battered by towering waves, but continues forward, and the people inside remain alive. After some time, John checks the air quality and realizes it is now largely safe. He asks about the masks and makes sure everyone is okay. They begin discussing their next move, only to quickly understand that there is no home left to return to. Iceland is mentioned as a nearby option, but they soon learn it has already been destroyed. They need a clear destination. John explains that the Clark impact has altered ocean currents, which are now flowing southward. With only about a week's worth of food and water remaining, Europe becomes their best option. In the end, they decide to steer the boat southeast toward England, hoping to reach London and find Mackenzie. If everything goes well, the journey could be completed in less than a week. After changing course, they continue moving forward, and soon something appears in the distance. At first, no one understands what they are seeing, but it soon becomes clear that they have reached Liverpool, England. Knowing they need shelter immediately, they move cautiously through the deserted area, searching for food, water, and a safer place to stay. As they push deeper into the city, they learn about a nearby government bunker and head toward it. However, the soldiers refuse them entry and shoot Adam, killing him instantly. The group of 4 manages to escape and later meets a driver named Obi, who had come to England from Nigeria many years earlier. They get into his vehicle and leave the area together. Later, they stop at a location where Obi and John talk. Obi shares that England had become his second home, though he sometimes wonders whether he would even recognise his old home anymore. They discuss France and agree that, despite some believing it might be safer in the future, it is currently far more dangerous because of what lies there. Moments later, a meteor shower strikes nearby areas. John touches the ground and immediately realises that they are about to be hit by an asteroid strike. He urgently orders everyone to hold tightly to the trees. A violent storm of falling asteroids crashes down, the ground shakes, and trees are ripped apart. The group survives, but instead of staying with them, Obi runs back toward his car. An asteroid slams into it, causing a massive explosion and total destruction. After the storm subsides, devastation surrounds them. The survivors collect their belongings from Obi's wrecked vehicle and continue toward London. Eventually, they reach Mackenzie, who is stunned to see John after so long and quickly brings them inside. She shelters them in a sealed section of a hospital, where a generator keeps the air filtration system running. Other people are also safely hiding there. Mackenzie explains that while the setup isn't perfect, it is safe enough to survive, though London is no longer the London it once was. During this time, Mackenzie shares that many of the patients she treats don't know what happened to their families, nor do they fully understand the comet's impact. She stayed behind even when food supplies stopped and the power went out, because she couldn't bring herself to abandon them. That night, they all eat dinner together and add more coal to the fire, creating a brief moment where life almost feels normal again. Nearby, a child sleeps peacefully from exhaustion. John admits that the memories still haunt him, and he is still trying to make sense of everything. They also talk about Clark and the crater outside, wondering whether life might one day return there. Some believe that the heat, water, and nutrients created by the impact could give rise to new life. John is confident that for now, this place is enough and far safer than the world outside. Later, we see Allison lying in bed when she hears John coughing hard. When she gets up to check on him, she sees blood coming from his mouth as he coughs. It becomes clear that John is seriously ill, and he tells her that he doesn't have much time left. Allison is overwhelmed with emotion, realizing that in these circumstances, John is all she and their son have. And although Mackenzie has medicines, John knows they can't change everything. He promises that they will stay together as a family, but Allison insists they cannot remain there. She wants John and Nathan to have a future, and she believes the crater could offer a new beginning. She reminds him that half of Nathan's life has already been spent simply trying to survive. At this point, they all agree that it is crucial to take Nathan to the crater because where he is now offers him no future. Mackenzie helps them by providing fuel, a gun, and clear instructions, warning them that when they head south toward Dover and attempt to cross the channel, they must not stop for anyone. During the journey, night falls. Soon after, while travelling in the car, they are ambushed and gunfire is directed at them. John fights back, killing the attackers, but the doctor Amina is tragically shot and dies in the attack. The group then continues and finds a place to bury the doctor, offering prayers before moving on. After more travel, they reach the location where the ferry to France used to operate, but now the sea has vanished. They begin driving toward France, but after some distance, the road ends, leaving only a bridge that must be crossed on foot. Other survivors are also attempting this treacherous path, which proves extremely difficult. The bridge begins to collapse during their crossing, and when a ladder falls, everyone on it plunges into the abyss. The surrounding ground also starts giving way, and people fall into the pit. A ladder with the Johns family begins to fall too, but they manage to cross the dangerous path with great effort and reach the other side, finally breathing a sigh of relief. Just as they are about to move forward, Denise appears, armed. After a tense conversation, he allows them to stay and takes them into his vehicle, bringing them to northern France. Denise leads them to his fully secured home, introduces them to his family, and explains that they survive using solar power, air purifiers, and a system that keeps the air clean enough to live safely. During this time, Denise reveals that his wife was affected by radiation and can no longer speak. Later, everyone sits together to share a meal and discuss the crater, which many have begun calling the Promised Land, believing it may be humanity's last hope. However, Denise warns them that war zones surround the crater. Amid these moments, Nathan forms a friendship with Denise's daughter Camille. During this time, Denise shows John a map and explains that the Western Alliance is defending the crater from other groups seeking to seize its resources. Only 2 cities remain, and constant fighting has made reaching the crater extremely difficult. Denise tells them that a safer route exists through mountain passes. He instructs them that when they reach the final checkpoint, they must speak with a commander who can help them move forward. Denise asks John to take his daughter with him, believing she might survive there even if he cannot. Meanwhile, the family continues their journey toward the crater. After some time, they stop to rest and enjoy a brief moment of calm. Suddenly, military soldiers arrive. Camille approaches them and requests to meet the commander, and they allow them to pass. Now, understanding the danger, they have only one path: to go through the war zone. With the captain, they navigate the deadly route, dodging constant gunfire and attacks, and manage to cross the battlefield to reach the camps, only to discover that the commander has died. John asks another officer for help, who agrees to assist them. Travelling under the protection of soldiers on a bus, they are ambushed along the way, and some soldiers are killed. With no other option, John fights back and eliminates the attackers, but he is shot and seriously wounded in the process. Allison then drives at full speed toward the crater. After some time, they reach it, but cannot move the vehicle any further. They must continue on foot. Moments later, they arrive at the crater and see that the land is fertile and green. Seeing that his family is finally safe, John relaxes, but then collapses to the ground and dies there. Grief-stricken, the remaining survivors pray for John and continue toward the crater. With this, Greenland too comes to an emotional and dramatic close. Thank you for watching.